0.62. 0.58. 0.58, 0.63, 0.60, 0.59. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dawson with Primed Defender. I wanted to hop on here and do a video of the scoop draw. So as you guys can see in that intro video, it's something that I've become very proficient with. I think all of those times were around the 0.5, 0.6 mark. And I can do that without having to exert too much effort, right? And anytime you can do something and you have to exert the least amount of effort, but you're able to get the job done in a very efficient manner, that's the way to go, right? That's where you're actually being efficient. The reason I like the scoop draw rather than like the snatching method or the stabbing method out of the holster is with those methods, you are bringing your hand up above, changing directions, coming back down to the gun, changing directions, bringing the gun out of the holster and up to your eye line. So anytime you're changing directions, you're adding wasted time, right? So I like to use the scoop draw. And I can be very, very consistent with it and always have a very good grip, right? So how do we do that? So one of the first things I like to use is touch points or memory points, right? A lot of people will use their forearm and touch it to their magwell, maybe their beaver tail. Some people will use 2 touch points. I like to use 2. It just helps you be consistent, right? When you have those touch points, you know from that position, you do the same thing every time and you can have a lot more consistent grip and be able to get your hand to that gun more consistently, okay? So what I like to use is I use my forearm on the magwell there, and then I use the meaty part of my thumb or the bottom thumb knuckle, and I put that on the bottom of my holster, okay? From there, instead of leaving my hand straight, I actually cant it. You could say I cant it forward, back, however you want to say that. I don't know. But I cant it just a little bit. The reason I do that is I come into contact with the grip with my pinky finger first, right? Which is contrary to what a lot of people teach. But it works very well for this specific draw. The reason being, and I'll show you here, is as I bring my hand up the back, which I'll show you here real quick first, is I use this middle finger and I drag it along the back side of the holster and up the trigger guard, okay? So the reason this works is I'm dragging that middle finger up that part there. My pinky finger comes in contact with the grip first, and you can see how it kind of pinches my fingers up into that trigger guard. I'll step a little closer here. It pinches my fingers up into the trigger guard. As I continue on with my draw and that middle finger on my dominant hand slides into place and my thumb comes over the back, that allows me to have a very nice high and tight grip every time, because basically you're using this as a leverage point to, again, pinch the middle finger up into the trigger guard there. So that's why it works extremely well for me. The next thing I do is, rather than bringing the gun out of the holster and then trying to bring your thumb over kind of mid-air somewhere here, that was always very inconsistent with me. My grip would be all over the place, and or I'd feel like I was about to chuck the gun across the room. I didn't want to do that. Obviously, that's not safe, and I like to have a good, consistent grip, obviously. So what I actually do is, as I'm bringing my hand to the gun, as soon as I start to feel resistance, I slingshot the thumb over the back of the beaver tail, right? And it kind of looks something like that right there. So right there. So I bring that thumb over as soon as I possibly can. Most of the time the gun is hardly even out of the holster a little bit before my thumb is actually over the back of the beaver tail. And that way I have a very nice, high and tight, consistent grip every time. So the next thing that I do is a little technique and trick as an extra fail-safe, okay? So as I bring the gun out, I'm trying to marry my hands as quickly as possible or get my support hand over to the gun as quickly as possible because I want to transfer energy to my support hand. That's where all of your recoil management comes from. But I take my middle finger on my support hand and I aim for the dominant, my pointer finger, and I aim for the dominant hand middle finger right here. I don't aim for the trigger guard. If you aim for the trigger guard, you can hit here on the trigger guard, here, maybe up here. You're still hitting the trigger guard, but your grip is going to be different every single time. I want to make sure it's consistent. So if I aim for my middle finger here, then I'll make sure that it's consistent every single time. As I'm doing that, right, the gun is coming out of the holster and I'm bringing this over as fast as I can and aiming for that middle finger. I actually bring this thumb over the top of the slide just slightly. This allows me, for one, as that extra failsafe, I can actually use that. Let's say I didn't get a good grip, which with this style of draw is generally not the case, but let's say I didn't get a good grip. That allows me to actually press the gun into my dominant hand throughout the draw, right? So I'm not having to waste any motion and I can ensure that I'm getting a good solid grip. Another thing it does is as I do that and put the thumb over the top just a little bit, is it actually opens up my palm just a little bit, flattens that palm out, and it actually allows me to get more of the meat of my palm onto the gun, right? Again, your recoil management comes from your support hand. So again, I'm here and I have that thumb over just slightly. It opens up my palm and I'm able to cinch in as I bring that gun up to my eye line. And that gives me a very nice, high, tight, and consistent grip. And it's kind of like a little cheat code. It works extremely, extremely well. So these are some of the tips that I use for my scoop draw that allow me to have a very consistent grip every single time. And again, one of the reasons I like it is it's one motion. You're not changing motions, coming back down to the gun, then coming up and bringing it to your eye line. It's all one motion. It's here, up to your eye line. It's all one fluid motion. So that's one of the reasons that I like the scoop draw, and I hope these techniques will help you out just a little bit. Remember to dry fire them, practice them as much as you want. If you guys like it and this video helped you out, remember to like, subscribe, comment down below. If you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. Thank you for watching. Stay primed, and I'll see you on the next one.